gentlemen, this is Robert Trout bringing you some great news for 1955. News about the amazing new MOTORAMIC Chevrolet. Never before has any new car caused such national interest and excitement, and we now bring you this special camera report to show you why. Let's begin our camera report at the world's foremost development center, the General Motors Proving Ground. New from the ground up. Yes, the astounding fact is that the 1955 Chevrolet is not just a new model, but a completely new car. From tires to top, from bumper to bumper. The 1955 Chevrolet is completely redesigned and re-engineered to a new concept of motoring pleasure and performance. Your camera report now takes you to Chevrolet engineering. The main strength of this amazing car is its new massive frame. A full 14 inches wider at the front and 50% more rigid. Notice there is no apparent second cross member. Actually, a unique structural arch supplies amazing cross member strength as a super rigid link between frame and body. And it's a completely new body too. The new twin guard body by Fisher that puts a double wall of steel around us for greater strength and protection. Still another new concept. Outrigger rear suspension. Rear springs are outside the frame, as wide apart as possible, following the same principle of continuous balance used by the famous outrigger canoe. In the 1955 Chevrolet, it means tremendous new rear-end stability, especially on curves. And matching the new rear suspension is the revolutionary new glide-ride front suspension system. The most fully developed independent front suspension unit in the world. It gives the 1955 Chevrolet driving and riding advantages found on no other car. The parade of major engineering changes continues. Completely new axles, plus completely new power team components. New tubeless tires, a softer ride, new resistance to blowouts, new freedom from tire squeal. A lower center of gravity to a new point of road-hugging equilibrium. That's just part of the story. Our special camera report now shows you what all these new engineering features mean for you and me. QUADRA-POISE Ride, perfect four-point balance over any highway, is a completely new sensation of riding and handling ease. You can see we're riding the rugged Belgian blocks. Yet the tubeless tires, new frame, and new front and rear suspension units retain their balanced poise. They soak up the shock so effectively that inside the car we seem to literally float over the most rugged test strip in the world. And watch closely as we come to a stop. Brakes on hard, yet we retain comfortable level flight balance. The 1955 Chevrolet effectively controls discomforting front-end dive. It's an exclusive Chevrolet feature, made possible by the special counterbalance design of the new Glide Ride front suspension unit. When you apply the new pivot pedal brakes or the optional new power brake, this ingenious new front suspension unit automatically counteracts the normal tendency to nosedive. You feel safer and more confident behind the wheel of this new Chevrolet. And that feeling grows when you turn the wheel and feel the smooth response of the new standard equipment, ball race steering, which uses a smooth action ball bearing system. And for the ultimate in steering ease, the 1955 Chevrolet offers optional Power Touch power steering, a completely new development for the MOTORAMIC Chevrolet. And still another exclusive feature. The massive new structural arch that binds body to chassis with new rigidity is also the heart of the ideal heating and ventilating system long sought by automotive engineers. This heating system provides two distinct temperature levels. This is truly comfort zone heating and ventilating. And the beautiful new MOTORAMIC Chevrolet is the only car in its field advanced enough to have it. The hood-high air intake assures the cleanest, freshest possible air. New simplified controls let you select the precise temperature you like. In the coldest weather, your feet and lower body keep warm and comfortable. And yet at head level, you breathe comfortably cooler air. And for the ultimate in comfort, Chevrolet is first in its field to offer an optional all-seasons air conditioner, the last word in everyday driving comfort. That's just the story of the new concept in riding comfort and handling ease. There's more great news in the 1955 Chevrolet's new power story. New MOTORAMIC power. And in the 1955 Chevrolet, that means power for every person purpose, unmatched performance and economy, and the greatest choice of completely new power teams in the industry. 3 new valve and head engines, 3 great transmissions, 3 new rear axles, offered in 6 great new power teams. The new Turbo Fire V8 engine, most compact, most advanced power plant in the industry. 162 horsepower with new fire swirl combustion chambers and a full 8-to-1 compression ratio. The new Blue Flame 136, the newest, most completely developed 6-cylinder valve and head engine in the world. Its power mate, the new Blue Flame 123. Its peak efficiency design makes this the economy-rated engine of the year. All these engines offer years ahead benefits from their advanced features design. A new 12-volt electrical system, double rate to meet new power demands. New power hushed cooling with fan speed below engine speed for far quieter operation. New LubriGuard crankcase, better safeguarding of high compression close tolerances. New Poise power engine mounts, an exclusive Chevrolet-developed power cradle that virtually eliminates any feeling of engine vibration. The new MOTORAMIC Chevrolet offers you the best in the kind of driving you prefer. For conventional driving, the all-new Quiet Ease Synchro-Mesh Transmission, matched with the new Tiptoe Magic high-capacity clutch for the quietest, easiest non-automatic shifting in Chevrolet history. And you can choose a conventional driving team headed up by either the power-packed Turbo Fire V8 engine or the economy leader new Blue Flame 123. For the finest automatic driving at any price, the re-engineered super smooth Power Glide automatic transmission, always the finest in its field, now the finest choice in the industry for unbelievable performance and economy. Choose either the ultra-new Turbo Fire V8 engine or the peak efficiency new Blue Flame 136 to power this super automatic driving team. And for something entirely new in combined performance and economy, the MOTORAMIC Chevrolet offers new touchdown overdrive. Convenient no-clutch shifting below 30 miles per hour. Second gear starts in traffic that reduce city driving effort a full 50%. And on the open highway, traditional overdrive economy in new, generous Chevrolet proportions. For this all-new overdrive transmission, there's a choice of either the Turbo Fire V8 engine or the new Blue Flame 123 for flashing power and performance combined with gas miser economy. Never has a new car offered so many new exclusive features and driving benefits, or such a totally different experience in motoring pleasure. Truly, in its new MOTORAMIC styling, with its new QUADRA-POISE ride, and harnessed to new power beyond compare, the 1955 Chevrolet is much more than a new model. It's a new concept in low-cost transportation. This is the big news, the great news for all of us for 1955.
I am an engine. My mother was imagination. My father, molten metal. In me is power, churning power, turning power, burning power in 8 busy breathing cylinders. I am Chevrolet's new Turbo Fire V8, an engine that keeps car wheels rolling. 162 horses are racing inside me, every one a stallion of power. I cover ground straight, fast, steady. Distance is my my challenge, my glory. I eat miles, not gasoline. These are my brothers, Chevrolet's high-stepping blue flame sixes. No chips off the old block. These sixes are new, all new, and acted. Mountains melt, hills hide when they see 'em coming. We're highway spanners, 7-league boots that cover a continent. Power, that's what we sing of. Performance, that's what we sell in 8s, in 6s, in all new Motoramic Chevrolets. Power, performance, this is our story.
An outstanding feature of the new Chevrolet is its remarkable riding and handling ease. In the city, on the highway, around the sharpest curves, over the roughest roads. In a new Chevrolet, you get the safest, most stable, most comfortable ride you've ever known. The reason is modern engineering. To Chevrolet, that means simpler designs of parts and components so they work better and last longer. The new Chevrolet chassis is a classic example. Its outstanding performance is largely built around 2 simple principles engineered to operating perfection. First, for all-around strength, nothing is structurally better than a box. This is just ordinary cardboard, but because it's shaped into a box design, it easily supports the weight of a 200-pound man. Let's see how this design is used in the new Chevrolet. The box girder frame is a famous Chevrolet first, but in its new design, it is 50% more rigid than ever before. One reason is that the various box sections of the frame are bigger and wider. Another reason is that with straighter side members and stronger front and rear cross-member attachments, the entire frame is virtually a rectangular box. But here's the main reason. A completely new design for the important front suspension cross-member. In the 1954 frame construction, the front cross-member was a separate unit. The front suspension was attached to this cross-member, then the unit was bolted to the frame. It was good engineering. But Chevrolet engineers had a better idea. The front cross-member is built right into the new Chevrolet frame. Precision drilling spots the attachment points for the front suspension. Then you've got what they call an integrated unit, much stronger and much more stable. This simply means you don't have to worry about taking your new Chevrolet over wicked roads. The world's toughest test roads have already proved that. And here's more proof. You get plenty of extra strength and stability in the new Chevrolet. Now, where else in the new Chevrolet frame can we use the natural strength of the box? Well, here's an important place, at the frame ends. At both front and rear, the new bumper attachments make box-like structures with new strength and rigidity. And again, where most cars have a second cross-member, the new Chevrolet has another kind of box. It's a unique structural arch called a plenum chamber. And it helps bind the body to the chassis in a new and stronger way. These additional boxes give you additional benefits. The new structural arch makes an added contribution to your riding and handling ease. The other hidden boxes in the new bumper design give you extra protection against careless drivers. How much? Watch closely. This regular production new Chevrolet has no special reinforcement of any kind. And here's the result. Just front-end sheet metal damage. In the new Chevrolet, there's plenty of extra strength for your safety and protection inside the car. That's how important the simple box can be. Now let's see how resourceful modern engineering can be with another simple principle. Nothing is easier to move around than a ball, and a ball can move in one direction as easily as another. The new Chevrolet front suspension takes full advantage of this principle. Here is true ball suspension. Two balls are used in place of the usual hinge-type connections at these joints. The new ball joint is more durable and more trouble-free. Its new flexibility permits elimination of old-fashioned kingpins, and it leads to other important design changes. First, the front coil springs and shock absorbers are now inclined toward the center of the car. This gives Chevrolet's famous knee action new freedom to soak up the shock of rough roads. Second, Chevrolet ball suspension makes possible a revolutionary new and exclusive braking feature. This simplified drawing shows how, with the old hinge-type connection, the upper control arm is kept parallel to the lower one. This is also true of conventional ball-type connections. But the new Chevrolet's fully developed ball suspension permits placing the upper control arm at a carefully determined angle to the lower one. And at this angle position, it automatically counteracts the usual front-end dive when you put on the brakes. Only the new Chevrolet gives you this extra comfort and assurance. And third, the new Chevrolet has a completely new steering system designed to work with the new ball suspension. Here, the principle of the ball is used again to give you easier, better handling control. This is an underneath view of the new Chevrolet's steering linkage. These are the links between the front wheels and the steering gear. These linkage joints are precisely located so the entire system works like a series of balls turning on perfect centers. For example, most of the time, both front wheels are on the same level when they turn. But the ideal steering system is designed so that when one wheel is above or below the other, you still have what the engineers call true steering geometry. This simply means easy, sure steering in any and all driving situations. Instant response in any emergency. Safe, sure control under smooth sailing or rough. You get this kind of steering in the new Chevrolet. And here's another reason why. Under the hood, inside the standard steering gear unit, you find a Chevrolet feature formerly available only with power steering. Free rolling balls again. Only Chevrolet in its field uses them in the standard steering gear. And with almost no resistance, they start the front wheels turning the moment you turn the steering wheel. Here's the smoothest standard steering there is, and that assurance of easy control that makes for sheer enjoyment of driving. In a new Chevrolet, you always have that assurance. Because here we go again, with extra performance and dependability in action. But we're not quite through with the ball. Let's talk about sheer stability. It is often assumed that the heavier a car is, the better it rides and handles. Actually, total weight is not really important. What is important is correct scientific weight distribution. All of the car's weight must be precisely balanced or sprung, as the engineers put it, around an imaginary point called the center of gravity. You get this in a new Chevrolet, plus a lower center of gravity than ever, plus a wider front tread for better front-end control, and plus a completely new rear suspension system. The rear springs are the longest in the field and are placed outside the frame for better rear end control. The total result, almost unbelievable overall stability. And watch this. Here's more evidence of the extra reserve built into every new Chevrolet. And it all comes from the box and the ball. Two simple principles engineered to perfection to give you the kind of riding and handling ease often dreamed of and now achieved in the new Chevrolet.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all. So make a date today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet.
In the new Chevrolet, you get all of the big, important things you want and need in a really modern automobile. Magnificent new styling, both inside and out. Wonderful new comfort in both basic body design and interior appointments. Riding and handling ease you must experience to really appreciate, and power and performance the low-price field has never known. But that's only half the story. Chevrolet's modern engineering carries every major feature at least one step further to give extra features you find on no other car in Chevrolet's price class. That means extra pleasure, extra safety, and extra convenience in your daily driving. Here's a new multi-million-dollar road improvement program in the making. A citywide network of modern expressways. Here's proof of another new road improvement development. It's the unique front ball suspension system that lets you go places you might hesitate to go with any other car. You like hunting and fishing? Go right in deep to your favorite secret haunts. This car can take those murderous wagon trails, and so can you. And you'll roll home with a new feeling of relaxed comfort. With its new ball suspension system, new inclined knee action shock absorbers and coil springs. The new Chevrolet has such front-end stability, the old-fashioned stabilizer bar is no longer needed. Extra features? Watch this. But hey, doesn't this wash the lubricant off the ball connections in the front suspension? Probably. Just as in normal driving, when sudden squalls flood roads and highways. But the new Chevrolet has revolutionary non-metallic bearing liners around the ball connections. That means longer, more trouble-free operation in all your driving, plus extra protection under extreme conditions. And here's more extra protection. Chevrolet's famous Jumbo drum brakes, the largest in the field. Safe, sure stopping every time. That's important. And so is split-second warning to the driver behind you. Extra safety, and you get it only in the new Chevrolet. The stoplight switch is the safe mechanical type, completely independent of the hydraulic brake system. So, regardless of brake adjustment, the instant you touch the brake pedal, your stoplights flash on. And in the new Chevrolet, the brake pedal linkage and stoplight switch are up inside the car, away from road splash. Extra protection, extra assurance of working efficiency. And the new Chevrolet adds still another extra exclusive braking feature. The normal tendency to a front-end nosedive is automatically counteracted. A completely new feeling of comfort and assurance. And you get it only in the new Chevrolet. Now, meet Miss Darlene Dalton, a real genuine outdoor girl. As you might suspect, Miss Dalton in action is something to see. A one-sport girl? Not Miss Dalton. There are sports and sports. And this one involves a new Chevrolet. Take a gander down the track. An interesting challenge to anyone's steering ability. But watch this. It seems Miss Dalton has her own way of doing things. Unconventional, perhaps, but it proves a point. Chevrolet's modern engineering gives something extra in standard steering ease. An exclusive free-rolling ball race system. The smoothest standard steering there is. Here's a new way to keep warm. Takes smooth steering plus a short turning radius. It's easy on a motorcycle or in a new Chevrolet. With less body overhang, both front and rear, and better weight distribution, the new Chevrolet gives you the shortest turning radius in its field, plus easier front wheel control. This all adds up to effortless handling ease on the road and extra driving pleasure. And rear-end stability, more Chevrolet bonus engineering. Longer, softer-acting, outrigger-mounted rear springs give extra rear seat riding comfort. But let's stop here and go back to the beginning of this trip. All around this car, you'll find extra consideration for the owner. One key for all the locks. A trunk lid counterbalanced through its full travel, both up and down. Rounded trunk lid corners for extra safety. The lowest trunk sill in Chevrolet's field by many inches. Easier loading and unloading. A driver-centered glove compartment, angled down so things fall in instead of out. And for coffee breaks on the road, another extra. Windshield wipers, the dependable cable type, with the motor outside the passenger compartment for quieter operation. And you simply turn the headlamp switch to check the back seat situation. When they're locked, rear door handles freewheel harmlessly, standard on all Chevrolet four-door models. And when they're unlocked, the most convenient rear seat exit and entry in Chevrolet's price class. Plus the extra convenience of keyless locking on all doors. And you get plenty of extra going features. Especially with Chevrolet's remarkable new TurboFire V8 engine, the smoothest, quietest, high-power V8 engine in the business. And it should be. The complete engine is precision mass balanced after assembly in unique, electronically operated machines. These machines automatically determine how much the engine is out of balance, and then automatically bring it into balance. Only Chevrolet in the entire industry takes this extra safe with such ultra-modern machines. And the result? The smoothest, quietest power from the engine with the best power-to-weight ratio in Chevrolet's field for either conventional or automatic driving. And for lowest cost automatic driving, here's the only 6-cylinder engine in Chevrolet's field with extra quiet, extra efficient hydraulic valve lifters, plus an automatic downshift, flashing starts, and surging passing power. Extra performance, extra quality, extra value. You get them all in the new Chevrolet. All because Chevrolet's modern engineering goes one step further.
Small word, big meaning. A word I use constantly when I sell Chevrolets. Yes, I'm a Chevrolet dealer, and the success of my business, just as any other man's, depends on how much value you can give the buyer for his money. And with Chevrolet, that's plenty. Let me show you something about value. Value in styling, for instance. Only in higher-priced cars can you find the smartness of this body by Fisher. The new MOTORAMIC Chevrolet has a certain luxury look that in model after model can mean only one thing: value, big value.
These engines, 2 new 6s and a new V8. A power range that goes from 123 to 180 horsepower.
Again, that's Chevrolet for you. Big value. Drop in and see your local Chevrolet dealer. Find out for yourself about all the big value features of the new MOTORAMIC Chevrolet.
At the General Motors Proving Ground near Detroit, Chevrolet engineers use all sorts and types of equipment to find out how much better is the new Chevrolet than Ford or Plymouth. Perhaps with a little daring and some willing friends, you could get roughly the same answer. But rough answers are not for engineers. Even slight inaccuracies and misconceptions bother them. For example, you hear a lot of talk about horsepower. But what really counts is road torque. Twisting power at the rear wheels. And in a well-engineered car, it's the end result of a lot of things besides just horsepower. High engine torque, or twisting power. Smooth, efficient torque multiplication at the transmission. Precisely matched rear axles to take advantage of that power. Better weight distribution to get more weight distributed over the rear wheels for better traction. And a better power-to-weight ratio, that is, more actual power per pound of car weight. You get all these things in the new Chevrolet. And it all comes out in, well, for example, the power to pull every other full-size car on the market. 16 different makes from a dead start. Not just horsepower, road power. The most effective power at the rear wheel. That's what counts. And that's what the new Chevrolet has. And the proof? Torque talks. Dynamometers measure the torque output of every engine make.
A special torque wheel replaces one of the regular rear wheels to measure the actual amount of torque delivered at the road. At all speeds and under all driving conditions, the result shows up on the torque meter. In fuel consumption tests, a device called a burette measures the exact amount of gas used at different speeds. And with split-second accuracy, the electronic time-distance oscillograph measures accelerating ability, automatically printing time, distance, and speed on paper tape. Interpreting the facts and figures gathered from such impersonal test equipment, the engineers take, for them, a very positive stand.
Translated, this all means the new Chevrolet can outperform Ford and Plymouth 6 ways to Sunday.
And the proof, again. A kind of match race, but under ideal conditions and using standard performance tests recognized throughout the industry. 3 cars from comparable series price-wise and all equipped with standard V8 engines and automatic transmissions. All 3 drivers are professionals, members of NASCAR, National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, and have no connection with any automotive company. They drew their cars by lot for the first test and will alternate thereafter. And for every test, the same instructions. Leave the transmission in normal drive. Ram the accelerator to the floor. These conditions rule out driver skill as a factor. They leave everything to the cars and the engineering inside them.
Are you all ready?
Ready for the first test. Accelerating ability. Watch the starting flag. Getting ready for a second run in the other direction. Here's how it looks to be the leader. How it looks to follow the leader. And how it looks to bring up the rear. Now, hill climbing ability. The 7% grade is about double the average grade on any public highway. And to hit 70-some miles an hour in a few seconds takes plenty of road power. The new Chevrolet does it easily. Ready at the start line. And on the much steeper 16% grade, the difference in effective road power is even more marked. Now take San Francisco's steepest hill. This grade was built to match it. It offers the toughest test of smooth, effective road power when you have to climb it from a standing start on the grade itself. And you heard that tire squeal? Here's where it came from. The transmission here is overgeared to compensate for an engine weak on starting torque. The result is poor traction under extreme conditions, even on dry pavement. The other car doesn't have this problem, but it doesn't get any real light either. Now watch the new Chevrolet dig in. And even with all its extra power, the new Chevrolet uses less gas than either Ford or Plymouth at every cruising speed. Surprising, isn't it? Better gas economy at 30 miles per hour, right on up to 70 miles per hour. But it's not really surprising. Every proving ground torque measuring device shows that the new Chevrolet, at every speed from 0 on up, develops more effective road power than Ford or Plymouth. And for your prospects, this means more enjoyable power. Thrilling response at the start, surer response for the pass. More dependable power. The power to go wherever you want to go. And more efficient and economical power. Exactly the power you need when you need it. In every driving test, on the flat straightaway or up the steepest grade, the new Chevrolet completely outperforms Ford and Plymouth in both power and economy, in both V8 and 6-cylinder performance. Talk about horsepower. Why? It's torque that really talks.
Now, here's a wonderful car.
Looks fine. How about a demonstration ride?
New Bel Air Chevrolet. Step right in.
Beautiful. Picked up nice. Sweet on the turns. Brakes act fast. No forward lurch. Wonder how come?
That's Chevrolet's new anti-dive braking control.
Now for the big test. Say, passes like a pro.
Like some factual information on the new Chevrolet now?
No thanks. Know all I have to. You know what?
Yeah?
I like it.
My name is Bob Trent. I represent the people here at the General Motors Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. As you know, our new Chevrolet Task Force trucks are tailor-made for as many differences in climate, terrain, and load hauling as there are occupations. That takes a lot of people. But you know, that's something we get quite a kick out of here, knowing that when we develop and test our trucks, we're helping people in all kinds of jobs. For instance, take someone like William L. Mann of Kill Devil Hills near Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Bill has been an independent contractor for over 20 years and can't think of anything he'd rather do. His biggest job is locating and hauling gravel, an important job in this area where wind, water, and storms constantly change the face of the land. At times, Bill works from dawn till dark, searching the beach for gravel deposits left by the tide. Then they must be scooped up before the next tide washes them back out to sea. On stormy, windswept Cape Hatteras property, covering the sand with an inch or two of gravel can mean the difference between land or sea. Bill Mann is 39 years old, married, the father of 3 girls. His hobbies, beside his family, are hunting and fishing, and here, of course, he finds one of the best fishing waters in the country. He has a tractor with a trailer for big loads and on-the-road travel, besides his dump truck with 4-wheel drive. Bill likes the hard work, healthy hours, as he calls them, and being his own boss.
He often leaves the dump truck on the beach overnight. The next morning, there's no need to dig it out. He simply gets in and drives off, sometimes in water up to the bumpers. For with all the wind, sand, storms, and heavy loads, Bill finds Chevrolet the ideal truck for his work. Because day after day, Bill Mann's truck does its job faithfully and reliably. How come? Because it's been there before. Yes, right here at the Tech Center, long before it went into mass production, a model of his truck was subjected to temperatures as high as 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And for cold weather driving, all parts were tested at temperatures as low as 20 degrees below zero. In the wind tunnel, winds up to 65 miles an hour tested the lines of every model. In the brine tank, strong solutions of salt spray splashed on chassis and body and simulated flood conditions of more than a foot of water. The metal and paint finishes were exposed to extreme degrees of sunlight, humidity, heat, cold, dew, and salt splash. All these tests explain why, no matter how penetrating or corroding the moisture in the air, or how violent the storms, a Chevrolet truck performs better, more economically, and with less maintenance because it's been there before. You know, for adventure, the exciting promise of riches overnight, mining for uranium on the Colorado Plateau appeals to almost every man. For example, take a man like Sherman Asplund. With 32 years' experience in mining in North and South America, he is an authority on diamond core drilling. Sherman is the field superintendent and general troubleshooter for a uranium mining company in Moab, Utah. His trailer, which he and his wife have lived for 11 years, has a direct phone to company headquarters and a two-way radio to all its mines. Going from one job to another, Sherman often works around the clock, 7 days a week. That often means traveling over crude, rough roads carved out of the mountainsides. Sherman says he hasn't found a place where his truck won't go through, over, or under. Sometimes he's had to back up to get a running start. He always made it. Once in a while, when he's stumped by a new problem, Sherman takes off for a few hours of fishing at the river. Does a heap of fixing, he says. He has only 2 beefs about his truck. It won't go until he puts it in gear, and he still hasn't been able to wean it away completely from gasoline. Each day, Sherman drives great distances, going from one drilling operation to another. Yes, over the rugged wilderness of the Great Plateau, Sherman Asplund's truck meets every challenge successfully because it's been there before. A model of Sherman's truck was put through 900 bumps a minute. So engineers could study their effects on springs, shock absorbers, engine and body mountings. Stress concentrations under actual road conditions were recorded. Vibration frequencies at varying speeds and degrees of roughness were studied to overcome problems of metal fatigue. Truck as well as car transmissions were tested under conditions similar to a climb up Pikes Peak, including road grades and hairpin turns, putting trucks through more grueling trials than the wildest terrain of the Colorado Plateau can provide. Cliff Morgan has the kind of job that most of us at one time or another think that we'd like. Cliff is the timber boss for a big lumber company in the Pacific Northwest. 40 years old, Cliff has worked in the woods for over 22 years. He uses his truck for an office and for transportation, carrying anything from dynamite or injured men to spare parts for heavy equipment. He works the year round, except for about 6 weeks in winter when snow usually closes down the entire woods. In logging parlance, a show is the area in the center of a good stand of trees that are taken down. Cliff plans every show, builds the roads and bridges to bring out the logs, and selects the right men for work. Now, with 100 men under him, he works from 5:30 every morning until 6 or 7 at night, sometimes staying in the woods for days in time of deadlines, floods, or fires. Every 2 hours during the day, Cliff checks the weather forecast on his two-way radio. Wind changes, rain, and fire are constant dangers. And when the humidity falls to 30%, it is an unwritten law of the woods that all work stops. The danger from fires is so great that even all combustion engines are shut off. Cliff's hobbies are night baseball and fishing, but most of the time he's working. And there isn't a job he asks his men to do that he hasn't done himself. From fallers, the men who saw down the trees, to buckers, the men who cut the fallen trees into various lengths. To the dumpers who dump the logs into the river where they are hauled away to the sawmill by tugboat. Throughout Cliff's job, top performance, economy, and reliability under tough operating conditions are musts for his vehicle. Yet Cliff Morgan's truck meets every test. Why? Because it's been there before. Yes, long before Cliff's truck was put into production, durability tests forced the engine through an entire lifespan of normal use within the space of a few days. Brake linings were checked under high brake drum temperatures to find out how well the brake lining material kept its friction quality. Metal alloys were checked for constant friction wear resistance characteristics. Torsion strengths of various steels for crankshafts were tested for long life endurance. Today, nearly 140 million miles of experience and an accumulation of more than 30 years of testing know-how go into the day and night round-the-clock trials of Chevrolet Task Force trucks. Perhaps this is why people like you have bought more Chevrolet trucks than any other, year after year for more than 19 years. You know a Chevrolet Task Force truck is tailor-made to give maximum performance, economy, and reliability wherever it is called upon to operate because it's been there before.
See your Chevrolet dealer quick. The OK tag gives you your pick of the finest used cars money can buy.
When you drive it away, you'll catch everyone's eye.
For a good used car, stop in today and see the man who sells Chevrolet.
Your Chevrolet dealer who invites you to pleasure drive the MOTORAMIC Chevrolet. Reminds you to watch the Dinah Shore Show every Tuesday and Thursday evening over another television network. And to tune in again next week at this same time for Treasury Men in Action. This is Art Baker for Chevrolet, reminding you to drive with care everywhere.
September 9th, 1955, and near the top of Pikes Peak, Colorado, a feeling of excitement. A 1956 Chevrolet seems certain to put a dramatic climax on the year's most amazing story of engineering achievement. Yes, this is the climax. But the story really begins nearly 1,400 miles away and many months earlier, back in October 1954. A startlingly new and different car is announced to the low-price dealer. Even the Chevrolet engineers who designed this car are impressed with the way it meets every conceivable driving test. Standard steering, super smooth. Front ball suspension. Soaks up road shock like a sponge for remarkable riding ease. Overall stability, tremendous. Frame and body strength,
almost unbelievable. And power to spare. Power to pull 16 different driverless cars from a dead start. The performance clincher. Stock car races all over the country. A new champion with amazing ability to dig in on the curves and get away fastest on the straightaways. No wonder they're proud of this car and its record. And no wonder they wonder what new records the new 1956 Chevrolet will set. This new beauty brings still greater power and performance to the low-price field. But how much greater? That's the nagging question to be answered September 9th near beautiful Colorado Springs. But what's this? Actually a 1956 Chevrolet, carefully camouflaged because the climactic performance test comes many weeks before announcement day. And the test itself, a certified high-speed run up rugged old Pikes Peak, America's most famous mountain, and a continuing challenge to automotive engineers. The terrain, the road conditions, and the terrific altitude make this a truly punishing test for any conventional car racing the clock. The car pulls into the waiting point a few hundred feet below the start line. And just before the attempt to smash all previous records, Chevrolet people gather for a last quick check with the driver. A great deal depends on his confidence in the car. Plenty of confidence reflected here. The start line is at the 9,000-foot level. Timing officials from NASCAR, National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, have their electric eye timing device ready for the running start. The approach flag, and he's off. The sizzling official start is flashed to the electronic timers up at the finish line, 14,110 feet above sea level. It's a long way to that craggy peak in the distance. 12 twisting, climbing, tortuous miles under the most extreme high-speed driving conditions. The new Super Turbo Fire V8 engine shows its work. 205 horsepower working smoothly at every altitude. Ample reserve power for the sudden spurt. Sure footing is just as important as high power. This is also a supreme test for roadability. Safe, sure ride control all the time. Smooth, effortless steering response. Here's real road power, digging in to get going without wasted effort. Deliberate, controlled skids save precious seconds on tight turns. Extra cornering ability, and that means getting around curves safer and faster. Performance all the way. But what about that record? The electronic time
holds the answer. And it's astounding. 12.5 miles to the top of Pikes Peak in only 17 minutes, slashing the old record by more than 2 minutes. A new record, a new champion. Congratulations are in order. But before the new record is accepted, NASCAR officials carefully check the car to make sure it's strictly stocked in every respect. They accept it. And that's the story of the Colorado Climax. But not the end of the story for you. You may never want to race to the top of Pikes Peak, but you do want dependable power and superior handling ease. Thrilling response of the car engineered to perform superbly under every driving condition. And whether your engine is the new Blue Flame 6 with its exciting new 140 horsepower and 8-to-1 compression ratio, the high-performance Turbo-Fire V8, now up to 170 horsepower, or the peak-powered new Super Turbo-Fire V8 with its new 205 horsepower and increased compression ratio, you'll get 1,000 new thrills behind the wheel of the new Chevrolet, the car that wrote the Colorado Climax.
The 56 Chevrolet, the most beautiful car on the road. Her long, low lines, the glittering sweep of her magnificent body. A winner if ever there was one. And like the true winner she is, this year the hot one is even hotter. Colorado Springs, September 9th. A pre-production model of the 56 Chevrolet sets out to break the Pikes Peak record. Up, up, up. 12.5 miles of twisting, turning, treacherous mountain road. Streaking for the top. 17 minutes, 24 seconds. The 56 Chevy breaks the record that has stood for 21 years. The new Pikes Peak record is real proof of the 56 Chevy's power and performance. The kind of performance that means better, safer control wherever you drive. Yes, Chevrolet for 56 is truly a winner in every sense of the word. So if you're looking for striking beauty and safer record-setting performance, get behind the wheel of an exciting new 56 Chevrolet. See and drive it at your dealers now.
This is the engineering center. Here we've just had a complete teardown of a Ford and a Chevrolet. These are Ford parts, ready for comparison with similar parts of a Chevrolet. Here they are, the Chevrolet parts. And our comparison is to cover all categories: economy, comfort and convenience, performance, and safety. Let's begin with safety. A big factor in safety is a driver's ability to see. The total of Chevrolet's glass area is this much bigger than a Ford's, 166 square inches. And remember, Ford's glass shortage is not confined to any one spot as we show here, but is distributed throughout all areas. Quite a difference, eh? Another safety factor. How does the steering equipment of the two cars compare as far as quick responsiveness is concerned? The Ford uses a steering gear of the worm and roller type. These parts rubbing together fight each other, create extra friction. Chevrolet reduces friction to an absolute minimum with a modern steering gear that turns on these easy rolling ball bearings. Take this example of how friction can tighten up, delay turning, and how balls lessen the friction, make turning smoother, quicker. Quick response means safety. And while we're on the matter of safety, you've heard a good deal about padding and seat belts. Padding is great, fine, but only a barrier can give real protection. And Chevrolet offers a big extra barrier called the plenum arch. Chevrolet does, Ford doesn't. Chevrolet safety is built in. Now, what about economy? Our comparison starts with body finishes. We know an owner can scrape the side of his car no matter how careful he is. But to repair a Ford finish is one thing, and to repair a Chevrolet is quite another. Ford has an enamel finish. A retouch job means redoing a whole section, including baking in a large oven. Chevrolet's lacquer finish can be retouched with no baking, no delay, no excessive labor cost. That's economy. Batteries make a good example of what we learned. Chevrolet's battery is warranted a full 36 months. Ford's only 21, which gives Chevrolet owners 15 extra months of economy. In brake linings, Ford uses rivets, and rivets jutting through make half of the lining useless. Chevrolet's brake linings are bonded, and thus Chevrolet's brake lining gives service through its entire thickness. Economy. We compared the V8 engines of the two cars for driving economy, particularly as to stroke and compression ratio. Chevrolet's 10% shorter stroke means Chevrolet pistons travel less distance up and down, and less travel, less wear. Another plus in economy for Chevrolet. Compression means power derived by squeezing, then releasing something that wants to expand. Ford's top compression is 8.4 to 1. Chevrolet's is higher, 9.25 to 1. Chevrolet higher compression squeezes tighter, gets greater power from the same amount of gas. Chevrolet is designed to use less oil, too. Every time a Ford V8 owner changes oil, he buys 5 quarts. A Chevrolet V8 owner needs only 4. The 1 extra quart involves considerable extra expenditure on the part of the Ford owner during the life of his car. What about gas mileage? In a supervised test, a Ford and a Chevrolet were put on a track, driven at the same rate of speed until each used up the precisely measured gallon of gas in its sealed tank. Here is the Ford finishing, while the Chevrolet continues on to record a full 30% better gas mileage than Ford, up to 80 extra miles per tank full for Chevrolet V8 owners. And drivers of a Chevrolet 6 have a comparable advantage. Our comparison went into comfort and convenience, too, starting with seating comfort. Here is the rear seat of Ford's most expensive series. No foam rubber. Chevrolet Bel Air rear seats have foam rubber cushions as standard equipment. No extra cost, just extra comfort. Further, Ford's rear seat has 2 7/10 inches less hip room than a Chevrolet. 2 people can sit comfortably, but a third makes a difference. Here is Chevrolet's rear seat. Now let's use Chevrolet's extra space, extra convenience and comfort. Convenience and inconvenience even in deck lids. Here's Chevrolet's, a deck lid that's truly counterbalanced. Now, Ford's. Well, it doesn't always do that. Rear seat passengers enter even the most expensive Ford in darkness. Chevrolet Bel Air riders have the convenience of automatic light from the instant any door is opened. A comparison of the ventilating systems of the two cars is very interesting too. Ford riders breathe air that enters their car here. There is no other vent, save this one directly in the exhaust gas area. Air for people riding in the Chevrolet enters here, up out of the gas area. Air taken into a Chevrolet is cleaner. We've left the comparison of performance until last. We started knowing Ford's six-cylinder engine is rated at 137 horsepower. Chevrolet's at 140. Ford's top V8 has 202 horsepower. Chevrolet's has 205. The first test rated the distance traveled to attain speeds for passing in critical highway situations, from 60 to 75 miles per hour. Ford reaches 60, then 75, with a time lapse of 7 2/10 seconds. Now Chevrolet. Chevrolet reaches 60, goes on to 75, in only 6 3/10 seconds. Thus, Chevrolet's power bonus for passing, at least 100 feet less than Ford on the dangerous side of the highway. Another power comparison, the ability to climb hills. The test started with both cars even, both traveling at the same speed, 20 miles per hour. At a given signal, both drivers stepped on the gas. Hill climbing power. No question about which car holds the Pikes Peak record, nor why. Chevrolet power. Finally, a comparison of top speeds. Not for highway travel, but for automotive engineering proof. Chevrolet and Ford at 50 miles per hour, and Chevrolet at 50 uses only 9.05% of its available horsepower. Now watch that Chevrolet reserve power go to work. Final proof of superior power in Chevrolet. In this comparison of 1956 Fords with 1956 Chevrolets, Chevrolet has proved itself to be superior by every standard. In economy, from better mileage to far less use of oil. In safety, from better brake linings to better steering. In comfort and convenience, from the use of foam rubber in rear seats to instant lighting when rear doors are opened. In power, from greater acceleration to greater top speeds. There is a difference in the cars of the low-priced field, and the pluses are with Chevrolet.
Every year, from east and west, from north and south, more people come out to see the new Chevrolet than any other car. But this year tops every other year. And no wonder, the 56 Chevrolet's MOTORAMIC styling is more beautiful than ever. In design, it's the future right now. It's packed with special features, like this concealed gasoline filler, ultra-modern rear fenders, and a longer, more rakish hood. This new 56 Chevrolet looks lively and acts lively. Yes, the hot one's even hotter. You get a new kind of performance for safer, easier passing. You get 205 horsepower with a super turbo fire V8 to set a new Pikes Peak record. Chevrolet for 56 combines record-setting performance with a clean, modern line that spells tomorrow. You'll lose your heart to this beauty when you see it at your Chevrolet dealer.
the Outfit, a rolling caravan that tours the highways and byways of America, bringing a thrill-packed show to hundreds of thousands of spectators all over the country throughout the year. Day after day, night after night, the equipment is unloaded for a grueling series of breathtaking routines that a talented troupe of daring drivers perform with the same fleet of regular production model cars. Yes, this is the Outfit, and this is the slogan they swear and live by. I drove all three. Comparison proves it's Chevrolet for me. And here's the man who should know.
I'm Joey Chitwood. I'm the boss of this outfit, so be my guest. Join the crowd that's come to take in the exciting thrill-a-minute show that my boys and I put on. Popcorn, peanuts, and red hots for the customer, and a real hot car for the driver. Chevrolet is the only one we use, not a souped-up reinforced model, but the same Chevrolet you'll find on any showroom floor. The hundreds of thousands of people who catch our show in a season see with their own eyes that the cars they can buy are the same ones we drive. And I'm giving it to you straight. My boys and I give hundreds of performances, day and night, with this same fleet of Chevrolets. And when you see the pounding we give them in these highlights from various shows, you get an idea of why the car we use has to be able to take it. And now, here's our announcer getting the show underway.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in behalf of Joey Chitwood and his world champion Auto Thrill Show. And now moving along, the individual introduction of each of the Daredevil stars driving brand new 1956 Chevrolet cars.
That's how we take our bows. Just the drivers, mind you, not the Chevrolet. We can spin on a dime and give you a nickel change. Believe me, it takes more than hard braking and an expert at the wheel to do that. It takes a combination of balanced weight distribution, plus the way Chevrolet's front-end suspension is built into the chassis. There's the combination that makes for sure-footed, anti-dive braking control. Safer, easier all-around handling with a car that'll stop heads up. Yes, safer by a long shot, even in a full reverse spin, which we wouldn't wish on anybody driving on highways. But if it happens in an extreme emergency, Chevrolet's combination of outrigger rear springs and body balance are protection against a rollover. I don't expect you'll ever run into any road hazards like these, but here's another example of Chevrolet's ability to meet and beat an emergency. It's like balancing an egg on a toothpick. It takes more than driver juggling to do it. Balanced frame construction is what lets us ride this two-wheel tightrope. Oops. Think we'll make it? Well, take a look at the rugged steel backbone in that chassis. A rigid box girder frame with no excess weight, and with the road holding low center of gravity, makes it a cinch for us to come off these runs right side up. Just in case you're wondering what would happen if my boy didn't make it, I've rigged this little stunt. Up and over. And these especially braced old jalopies we use in our shows really take a pounding. But it wouldn't prove a thing unless we put one of our regular cars in our fleet through this exact same routine. And this will really give you an idea of how rugged Chevrolet is, because we run them brand new in this rollover demonstration. And this 1956 Chevrolet has no special reinforcement whatsoever. Here we go. Hold it. This is too good to miss. So let's start at the beginning again and run it real slow so you can see for yourself the full wallop this car takes on the rollover. As tough as any proving ground test a car can be put through. Durability? Brother, that solid, sturdy, double-wall steel construction really gives durability to Chevrolet. Because here we are, heads up and running. A car that can do that means the world to you in your everyday driving. And talking about everyday driving, I'm sure you won't get tied up in many situations like this. But freewheeling in tight spots where every inch counts is something we just don't take for granted. We've got to be sure of split-second response with every turn of the steering wheel. And no matter how or where you drive, and threading through traffic, cornering, taking the wide turn or the sharp turn on the highways, steering control is the key to easy, fatigue-free handling. You'll want that split-second response, and you'll get it from the same place we get it, from Chevrolet's ball race steering gear. It cuts friction and drag down to practically nothing. Besides, these outrigger rear springs mounted outside the frame members reduce sway and body roll on the sharpest of turns, producing sure fire control every foot of the way. Routines like this could be a tough, nerve-wracking grind, but behind the wheel of a Chevrolet, they're just the smooth, easy-handling pleasure that's tops in our book, and can be the same for any driver who chooses Chevrolet. Now, no matter how good roads are these days, your car still takes plenty of bumps and jolts, but they're nothing compared to this ramp jump I'm going to show you for demonstration purposes. No sway, no swerve. Perfect balance and a perfect landing. It's a jarring test of the springs, chassis, and frame, and the pounding we give these same cars day after day proves beyond all doubt that they're built to take it under the roughest driving conditions. Of course, no one drives on such roads all the time, but the times that you do, it's good to know that the Chevrolet you drive can take this kind of punishment. I'm sure you won't be doing this kind of high flying. No man would, even in this business, if he wasn't absolutely sold on the car he used. It takes power, the solid, dependable V8 power you've got at the tip of your toe when you press down on a Chevrolet accelerator. In case you missed some of that, we'll try it again. This is something we can do only on film, but it'll show you how steady Chevrolet is, even flying high like this. And in this demonstration, you'll see 1956 Chevrolet durability put to the acid test. A car has to have everything to do this and survive, especially durability. And considering that this same car was used for the rollover stunt, it's really rugged. Here's another chance to see what I mean. With Chevrolet, I know I can drive away under my own power every time. And I've got to know if I'm going to put on another show tomorrow. You can take my word, we live to drive, and drive to live. And Chevrolet is the car we trust our lives to. Day in, day out, night after night, we show off our driving skills with this package of driving thrills. But more than that, we prove every day that the extra margin of safety every family wants in a family car is built into a Chevrolet.
Yes, this is the outfit, and here is the slogan they swear and live by. I drove all three. Comparison proves it's Chevrolet for me. It's a cinch this fellow knows, and you'll know too, once you get behind the wheel of a Chevrolet.
Now, Chevrolet Task Force trucks are champs of every weight class.
UGBW leads the way. UGBW Chevrolet. UGBW's up to stay with Chevrolet, the champion of them all.
Yes, the triple torque tandems lead the way. Gross vehicle weight up to 32,000 pounds. Gross combination weight up to 50,000 pounds. Modern higher-powered short-stroke V8s for every series. More powerful valve inlet 6s. And for 56, automatic transmissions for every model. High-level ventilation for greater cab comfort. Concealed safety steps that keep clear of mud and snow. Anything less than Chevrolet is an old-fashioned truck.
New Chevrolet trucks. New Chevrolet Task Force trucks. New Chevrolet Task Force.
See them at the greatest truck stop in the world, your Chevrolet dealers.
Daytona Beach, 1955. Chevrolet sets new all-time records for its class in stock car acceleration and flying mile competition. Darlington, South Carolina, Labor Day, 1955. The World Series of stock car racing. A grueling 500-mile classic over this fast Grand National track. A thrilling race, a thrilling winner, Chevrolet. Daytona Beach, February 1956. The same hard-packed Florida sand strip fronting the ocean, and hard-running competing stock cars fighting the clock in 1-mile acceleration tests and 1-mile time trials. A record-breaking pace with record-breaking wins in both events by Chevrolet. Sebring, Florida, March 1956. 5 2/10 miles of slick straightaway and treacherous curves. One of the toughest road race courses in the world. A grinding 12-hour endurance run for racing and production model sports cars. Corvette proving itself the hottest sports car in America. Gardena, March 1956. California short track racing oval. Every foot a challenge. A challenge met and won by Chevrolet in a 1-2-3 winning finish. These are highlights of a few of the many stock car events held throughout the year from coast to coast. And as in these annual Daytona Speed Weeks, all regular production cars, standard and sports models, compete under the uniform rules of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. Every event is an exacting test of a car's ability to perform, an opportunity to prove engineering superiority, a chance to display those outstanding performance features that are the trademark of a winner. And here are official NASCAR results written into the record book. Results that substantiate Chevrolet's claim to leadership on the racing strips, and thus also on the highways. In 1955, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Gardena, California, Flat Rock, Michigan, Toronto, Canada, Baltimore, Atlanta, and 11 other short track wins for Chevrolet. A new record of 658 points, more than 3 times the number tallied by its closest competitor. And in 1956, Chevrolet once again is far out in front of its closest competition, increasing its national point standing from last year's 3-1 margin to this year's 4-1 lead. That's the Chevrolet habit. To come out on top in these tremendous power performances. The pulsing runs against the clock. The exciting contests of men and machines. But more than thrills and excitement in this growing American sport, these are performance tests in the public proving grounds where a spectator can see what a car can do and give him an idea of why the car that wins so consistently on the tracks is also the nation's performance and sales leader. To get a better idea, a real bird's eye view of these winning Chevrolet performance features, let's look in on this demonstration race. It's a work session for top-ranking stock car drivers preparing for a big coming event and driving their choice, Chevrolet. This race will be run under exactly the same conditions as any official stock car race. All of these Chevrolets are production models, engineered and built the same as any found on a showroom floor. The gas comes from the public filling stations. It's the same that's used in all stock car races. This isn't the first run for any of these battle-scarred cars. Along with the drivers, they've chalked up plenty of mileage and wins in the toughest competition. Outside of the dents and paint scratches, they still roll at peak performance. And this will be a hot run, too, with Jim Reed joining in. He's racked up the short track championship 3 years running, driving his choice, Chevrolet. Thoroughly checked, the cars swing out for their pacing run around the track. They jockey easily, getting the speed of the track, and hold formation for a good start. The flag flagman steadies and readies them, and they're off. With that sparkling get-up-and-go power, so smooth on the takeoff, and soaringly smooth as the cars pick up speed, responding instantly to the touch of the toe on the accelerator. Almost frictionless transmission gives the peak efficiency that makes these and any Chevrolet the hot car. That's what pays off in these bruising short-track tests. Surgingly smooth power that never lets up and never lets a Chevrolet driver down on racetrack or highway. There's that power and some in reserve, too, when that extra bit of throttle is called for, just like these drivers call for it during a race. And they get it, too. That surefire accelerating response so vital for safe passing, getting out of the tight spots. And in these short track races, run in quarter-mile ovals that are tracked with one continuous turn, there are nothing but tight spots. Hitting those horseshoe corners at breakneck speed without excessive braking and drifting is quite a feat. But these drivers plow right into and out of these turns without any let-up. Or as they say, they stick their foot in it and keep going. That's because they know that the car they're driving's got body balance, and that it hugs the road as tight as the tires hug the wheel rims. They don't fight these curves. They ride them as fast as the natural physical laws will let it. And always with the solid assurance that the car will come out of the turns without rocking and rolling all over the track. Because even at this pace, pounding around the turns lap after lap, the car handles with smooth, easy responsiveness. All race steering provides maneuverability that makes the difference between a champion and an also-ran. This goes not only for the racing driver, but the everyday driver as well. And it's a comfort for the everyday driver to know that at any speed, he's got his hands wrapped around the safe, responsive steering wheel of a Chevrolet. During the long, lap-consuming, mile-eating turns around the track, about the only stop any of these cars ever makes is to change a tire or gas up. That's because Chevrolet is engineered not only to be kind to the car, but also to be kind to the owner as well. Under all everyday driving conditions, hardly any of which can duplicate the rugged routine of this racing oval, here's the car that provides fatigue-free, enduring, safe, and economical driving all the way down to the last lap. And here we are, after a long, turning run coming into the final laps. Just one more to go. Around once more into the last turns. And across the finish line, the winner. They're all winners right from the starting line down to the finish. In this run with Chevrolet pitted against Chevrolet, the only difference between the winner and the runners-up is the caliber of the man behind the wheel. But when the chips are down, it takes more than driving skill alone to win consistently and smash records. It takes a car that can come up with a tremendous stock car performance like this one at Darlington, South Carolina, April 26, 1956. A 1956 Chevrolet 210 blazes around the track to shatter a current record established in 1954 and set a new endurance performance record for the NASCAR 24-hour closed-course endurance run. 2,438 bruising miles, 3,546 car-killing turns around this 1 3/8 mile oval. An average of 101.58 pace blistering miles per hour for 24 consecutive hours, topping the previous record by 280 miles, with an increased average speed of 11.69 miles per hour. And this includes the time taken for gas stops and tire changes. Here is a roaring true-to-life test to the utmost of endurance, of shocks, spindles, hubs, wheels, steering arms, brakes, and every mechanical unit and nut and bolt in the car. A 24-hour run, rigorously demonstrating the overall road pounding a car can withstand, far in excess of everyday driving demands. In this amazing run, the record-blasting Chevrolet stood up to the test. demonstrated beyond an iota of doubt or argument that this is the hottest car in its class. Chevrolet is America's automobile leader, the swiftest, surest, safest performer on the highways today, and a big winner all the way.
Meet the 1956 version of the Sleeping Beauty. Nothing must disturb her, even when traveling. And nothing does, for she rides in a new 56 Chevrolet four-door hardtop. Chevrolet's powerful engine is nursery room quiet. But don't let it fool you. This year, the hot one's even hotter. When power is needed, there's power to spare in Chevrolet's 205 horsepower Super Turbo Fire V8. Whether there's a real emergency or just a friendly challenge, the 56 Chevrolet can more than meet it. A touch of your toe puts you ahead, far ahead in any situation, and you arrive rested, relaxed. Because the 56 Chevy hugs the road, takes turns easily. More than comfort, these things spell safer driving control. And these safety qualities are built into every new Chevrolet, into the completely new 9-passenger station wagon, into the glamorous Chevrolet convertible for 56. See and drive the 56 Chevrolet, the liveliest, loveliest car in its field.
Meet Gwendolyn. And don't laugh. She's a little bit beyond her prime now. Her figure isn't what it used to be. She's bulging a little at the seams. But there was a time, and it wasn't so long ago either, when she was the snappiest thing on the road. And you'd have been proud to be sitting up there behind that racing dashboard. Yes, sir. 40 years is able to make quite a change in any one of us. But seriously, what do you think the biggest change has been in cars in 40 years? Style? Appearance? Power? Yeah, but some of the most important changes have come in something else. Safety. Every year, more and more safety has been built into the cars we drive, and many of the driving risks we once considered unavoidable are now almost completely eliminated. Take the obvious features that increase safety by lessening driver fatigue. Easier stopping through improved brakes, both standard and power operated. Easier handling because of ball bearing and power steering. High level ventilation. Automatic signals for stopping and turning. Automatic windshield washers, electric wipers. The improved vision of the windshield itself. Remember what the windshield was like just 20 years ago? Remember the strip down the middle, the blind spot in the corner? By 1949, the glass has started to curve. The area is widening. By 1953, the center divider strip has disappeared. By 1955, the corner post has begun to tip backwards to eliminate the blind spot. And today, almost 1,100 square inches of glass, safety plate glass. But there are other safety advances that are even more important. Safety features that are engineered into the very heart of a car, built-in safety. In any driving situation, there are 3 things we can do. We can stop, we can steer around,
or we can accelerate past the obstacle. The decision rests with us. The ability to do it rests with the car. Let's see first what's been done to cars in regard to stopping power. Four-wheel, self-energizing hydraulic brakes, which means that the forward momentum of the car actually helps apply braking action. Plus, rivetless bonded brake linings, 11-inch brake drums, and the modern anti-dive suspension system that brings the car to a smooth stop like this, instead of like this. But suppose stopping is impractical and we have to steer around the obstacle ahead. How well that car steers depends, for one thing, on how well balanced it is. And what does an upside-down bottle have to do with the car's balance? Plenty. Watch. Didn't take much to knock it over, did it? But now look. We'll put it in this position. Same force exactly, but the bottle remains standing. Because its weight is concentrated down low, it has a lower center of gravity, a principle that applies equally to automobiles. And the steady effort of manufacturers to build cars closer and closer to the ground has not been for appearance's sake alone, but for safety. Lower the center of gravity. The result is that today's car can do things that would have stood Gwendolyn on her ear. But there's another factor in the balance of a car that means safety. It's called weight distribution. Pretend this box is an automobile. It is perfectly balanced because its weight is evenly distributed front and back. But suppose we put too much weight in the back. The weighted rear end swings out on the turn. Now, too much weight in the front end. Trouble again. The heavy front end tends to keep going straight. So let's put that weight right where it belongs, just a little behind dead center. A smooth, easy turn, because now it's correctly balanced. By the same principle, a modern car's weight is balanced just a little behind center. Balance. That means safety in steering. And here's something else. Remember what used to happen when you accidentally let your front wheel drift off the edge of the concrete? You were all over the road. But today, a world of difference due to modern wide-bed low-pressure tires, plus spherical joint front suspension that takes the turns and resists the roll. Plus, outrigger rear suspension with springs set wide apart to provide even more stability. Add to all this a kind of steering that is based on the principle that the most effortless motion we know is that of a rolling ball. Put that principle to work to create ball-bearing steering, and you have another safety item where your security depends on your steering. Our third alternative for meeting a driving situation is in accelerating. Under the hood of today's car is a tremendous reserve of power to meet just such situations as this. Power you may never actually need, but which is mighty good to have in case you ever do. Getting power to the rear wheels efficiently and effectively is another factor in acceleration. Remember how it used to be? If one wheel spun, the other one wouldn't turn. Today, that's changed with a new safety feature now available, posit traction. When one wheel loses traction, power is instantly shifted over to the other wheel. Posit traction. More safety through more effective use of engine power. Yes, one of the most important changes in cars over the years has been in the building into them of greater and greater safety. Increased stopping power, increased stability, improved performance all around. But with all that's been done, there's one part of the car that no amount of engineering can do anything about. The man or woman who
whose hands are on the wheel, and whose face is in the mirror. How much safety is built into him or her? How much courtesy will he bring to the road? How much consideration? How much care? How much attention? Yes, tremendous changes have been made in that car of yours. Changes that make it safer, more dependable, more responsive than ever before. And when as much has been done for the driver as has been done for the car, we'll all be in safer hands. How about you? How do you fit into this picture?
Happy birthday, dear mother. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Hey!
There's one more present.
Really?
Open it quick. This was from Dad.
Follow the ribbon through the door for the sweetest present you ever saw.
Follow the ribbon, Mommy.
Come on, let's go.
Oh, Bill, it's gorgeous.
And gorgeous is the right word for this Bel Air sports sedan. Spirited hardtop that heads the 1957 Chevrolet parade of 8 lively and lovely sport models. And when you look inside, well, the more you look at this new Chevy, the more you like it. Chevrolet interiors are definitely the finest in its field. And there's plenty of room in a Chevy, plenty of headroom, and the solid luxury of body by factor, found only on Chevrolet and higher-priced cars. Birthday or any day, a brand new Chevy is cause for a special kind of happiness, a happiness that will grow and grow as each new Chevrolet superiority is discovered and appreciated. Scores of Chevrolet improvements, like the handsome air vent built right into the headlight assembly. They scoop in as much as 22% more air, a great step forward in year-round ventilation and comfort. Or maybe you'd like a Corvette power team under your Chevrolet hood. Here's one man who took advantage of the exclusive Chevrolet option. And by the way, he had his choice of 5 engines and 5 transmissions. The greatest power and performance choice in the entire automotive field. The same choice your Chevrolet dealer offers you. And once you get up close to a new Chevy, there seems to be no end to the wonders of this great car. So why not discover these things for yourself? They're as near as your nearest Chevrolet dealers. And we can promise you this, that just like this happy birthday lady, you too will find more to be proud of in a Chevy. The more you look, the more you like Chevrolet.
There's a new Jet Ace for the jet age we live in. It took fuel injection to make the jet engine possible. And now fuel injection opens a new age of automotive performance. Chevrolet's Jet Ace. Chevrolet's new and exclusive ramjet fuel injection. What is fuel injection? What does it do? How does it work? What are its advantages? What will fuel injection on the engine of your car mean to you in performance, economy, and all-around driving satisfaction? For part of the answer, let's go back to the early days of aviation and the even earlier days of the automobile, when there was only one basic type of gasoline engine. This simple engine was made possible by the invention of the carburetor to mix the fuel and air. Fuel fed to this nozzle is regulated by a valve. Air moving through this passage picks up the fuel and carries it into the engine cylinder. A throttle valve controls the amount of the mixture reaching the engine. Over half a century, engineering has gone to refinements and features to help the basic carburetor do a better job of delivering air and fuel to the engine. Today's carburetor is a triumph of engineering research and development with outstanding performance and economy. Even so, as more and more power and response have been packed into every cubic inch of the most modern engines, it has become more and more vital to control the fuel-air ratio to match the exact requirements of every driving condition and speed. Aircraft designers with a similar need for fuel control to get maximum performance and efficiency during takeoff, cruising, and landing solved the problem by adding another man to the crew. The flight engineer, with his gauges, valves, and switches, controls the fuel-air ratio to match every changing power requirement throughout the flight. And then came the jet engine, writing a new history of power plant development in the skies. The most powerful and at the same time simplest jet engine is the type called the ramjet. It resembles a piece of pipe open at both ends. Air entering at the forward end mixes with burning fuel. The hot expanding gases rush out the tail end of the pipe to create a tremendous driving force. For several reasons, it was not considered possible for a jet engine to make use of a carburetor-type fuel system. Even the largest carburetor would slow down the flow of air into the engine. Even the finest carburetor would not provide accurate enough control of fuel for all conditions. And finally, no carburetor could work properly against the pressures built up in the jet-type engine. On the other hand, fuel at high pressure can be sprayed directly into the engine. This system, called direct fuel injection, is used in all jet engines, whether they be the ramjet used in missiles, the turbojet engine used in most fighter aircraft, or the turboprop engine designed for the airliners of tomorrow. The fuel injection principle has been applied to the piston-type engine also. For many years, it has been successfully used in heavy-duty engines where brute force is a major requirement. Fuel injection has many advantages in economical operation during long, steady pulls. Fuel injection also helps the fastest racing cars set new records for sustained top speeds. But as the owner and driver of a passenger car, you want far more than brute force or sustained top speed. You want the instant engine response, the flexibility, the smoothness, and overall economy that are possible only with perfect control of your engine's fuel supply. One way to match these requirements would be to have a special set of instruments and controls on the instrument panel. Then, of course, you'd have to add a man to the crew of your car, a flight engineer, to read the instruments and handle the controls. For instant starting, even in severe weather, your engineer pumps in extra fuel for each cylinder and sets the controls for a slight increase in idling speed during warm-up. With your foot on the accelerator, you tell your engineer what you want. Of course, you, the driver, are in charge. For takeoff, or a sudden burst of passing power, he gives you the right amount of extra fuel in a hurry. For cruising at steady speed, he regulates the flow for smoothest engine running and economy. Whenever you are using your engine for a break, the economy-minded fuel engineer shuts off the fuel completely. This gives you quieter engine operation, and it cuts down on fumes that cause smog. Of course, when you're ready for power, it'll be there, because the engineer starts the flow again as soon as the engine approaches idling speed. With an accurate airflow indicator, the engineer knows exactly how much air the engine is using at any given instant. To regulate the fuel accordingly, he uses a precise fuel flow control. Why not connect the airflow indicator directly to the fuel flow control? We'd have an automatic system that would do the engineer's job a lot more efficiently. Automatic, precise control of fuel flow is the basic principle of Chevrolet's perfected fuel injection system. To illustrate, let's look at this diagram with the fuel meter section enlarged for the sake of clarity. An air meter measures the flow of air at the intake entrance. With every change in flow, a diaphragm expands or contracts accordingly. Movement of the diaphragm changes the adjustment of a very precise fuel control to send the required amount of fuel to the engine. And here is Chevrolet's ramjet fuel injection, a dynamic engineering advance made possible today by the basic design superiorities of Chevrolet's Turbo-Fire V8 engine. This compact, perfected mechanism reacts instantly and automatically to the fuel requirements of your engine, responds with speed and precision. It is supplied with fuel by the regular engine fuel pump. This is the fuel metering system. It delivers an accurately controlled flow of fuel from a special high-pressure pump to 8 separate fuel injection nozzles, one for each engine cylinder. On the other side of the engine, air flows straight from the air cleaner into the air meter and then branches out to a separate passage or ram pipe for each engine cylinder. The manifold is designed to produce a true ramjet effect because intake air is always in motion even when the inlet valve is closed. This builds up pressure to ram more air and fuel past the valve when it opens. The fuel nozzles, with no moving parts to get out of order, inject the fuel into the airstream as it enters the cylinder head intake port. Every design feature has been engineered to make the most of the basic and overall advantages of Chevrolet's Turbo-Fire engine characteristics. Ramjet fuel injection now gives you total command of the power and efficiency that are packed into this advanced V8 engine. Because fuel injection sends the right amount of fuel and the right amount of air into your engine for every condition, you'll get the quickest, surest starting you've ever seen. Your engine has all the air it needs, and you get the smoothest and quickest warm-up. Because fuel injection shuts down the flow when your engine doesn't need fuel, you get a new kind of quiet glide and even more economy. Whatever your driving interests may be, Chevrolet's Turbo-Fire engine with new ramjet fuel injection offers you more. Because Chevrolet's fuel injection actually rams air and fuel into your engine when you need power, you get more response than you've ever felt, more of a safe feeling of command. Because ramjet fuel injection makes the most efficient engine even more efficient, you get greater overall fuel economy throughout every driving range. Like the captain of an airliner, you know that you are using every drop of fuel to the best advantage. Like the pilot of a jet, you know that absolute top performance will be there when you want it. As the driver of a new Chevrolet with Turbo-Fire V8 engine plus ramjet fuel injection responsive to your lightest touch, more than ever, you'll be in charge.
This is a story of a man who wanted a new 1957 car. He did a lot of looking, a lot of thinking, a lot of comparing. But his final choice was surprisingly easy. For one car had everything. Fresh new beauty, from its new front design to its high-fashion taillights. And it was the only low-price car with fine craftsmanship of Buddy by Fisher. Yes, you're right as rain. He bought a new 57 Chevrolet. And no wonder. In 57, there's nothing like a Chevy but a Chevy. In new styling that instantly appeals to your eye, and in newest performance features, Chevrolet brings you 5 great high-performance engines with the eager kind of power that lets you know you're the boss. And Chevy also offers 5 smooth transmissions, the greatest choice in the low-priced field. So drive happily ever after. Get the car that puts the purr in performance, the 57 Chevy, at your authorized Chevrolet dealers.
At Pensacola, Naval Aviation cadets learn that close inspection marks the merit of a man. Close inspection on the ground means safety in the air. Close inspection pays off in buying an automobile, too. Chevrolet's Bel Air Sports Sedan. Classic beauty, long, low lines. But what about the details? Body snug? Check. Body by Fisher, of course. Trim paint job? Check. No ordinary enamel on the new Chevy, but costly, long-lasting lacquer. Seaworthy? Chevy's grille screen won't rust. A special kind of aluminum, not painted metal. Now, let's inspect a new Bel Air convertible about to get underway. Notice the rich interior, open roominess, and comfort, foam rubber cushions, front and back. No distortion in Chevy's big, wide, wonderful windshield. Perfect vision ahead, all clear for takeoff. See for yourself. Compare the distinctive new Chevrolet. You'll find the more you look, the more you like, the 57 Chevrolet.
Task Force 57 Chevrolet trucks are here. Proved for stamina, performance, economy, and dependability on the Alcan Highway to Alaska. If you want a truck performance proved, make your next truck Chevrolet.
Chance of the Alcan run.
Be sure to enjoy The Chevy Show with Bob Hope next Tuesday evening over another television network. This is Art Baker for Chevrolet, reminding you to drive with care everywhere.